like to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Slezak, are you taking roll or Korzinski? Okay.
When you
What's
roll,
that? You're going to drive? I'm going to drive. Okay. Don't get us lost.
okay, roll call. Mr. Christensen,
Here.
Ms. Faze,
Here.
Mr. Grisbeck,
Here.
Ms. Janasek,
Here.
Ms. Hoppy,
Here.
Mr. McGregor, Mr. Modrak,
Here.
Mr. Scalzo,
Here.
Ms. Turner.
Here.
Thank you. I'd like a motion to adopt the agenda for business items.
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Scalzo, seconded by Mr. Grisbeck.
Voting's open. Motion passed.
Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of August 8th and August 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Ms. Hoppy, seconded by Mr. Scalzo.
Voting's open. Motion passed.
Thank you. I'd like to announce executive sessions held tonight for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. Is there a student government report?
Yes, I'm logged in.
This week, Bethel Park High School celebrated Homecoming Week. The dance theme was the 60s. On Friday, the 15th, we hosted a pep assembly. The homecoming nominees were introduced and the court was announced. The marching band and cheerleaders performed, and we hosted a few games. This was to kick off the Spirit Week. Monday through Friday, we hosted a Spirit Week. Each day had a different theme, like Monday, Music Monday, and Tie-Dye Tuesday. During each lunch period, we hosted a set of mini games. Each person that played the game was given candy, and then we selected the person with the highest score per period to win a gift card. We also had a door decorating contest. Each floor had a different theme relating to the 60s. The student body voted on 2 per floor to win a donut or cookie prize. Last Wednesday, we hosted a club fair. This gave students a chance to explore the wide amount of opportunities the high school has to offer. And right now, we are planning activities for October. We hope to have trick-or-treating with the preschoolers and possibly another door decorating contest.
Thank you. What's your name?
Caleb.
Caleb? Thank you. Thank you, Caleb. Is there a PTA report?
It's me, Dr. Walsh. It's Caitlin Griffiths, co-president at Lincoln and vice president at NAMS. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So for Abraham Lincoln, before the school year started, the PTO at Lincoln held a teddy bear picnic to welcome the incoming kindergarten class. Parents and guardians, their siblings, and new kindergartners enjoyed a story read to them by their new teachers, had Kona ice, and spent time getting to know one another on the playground. The next day began the new school year with teachers and staffs provided breakfast courtesy of the PTO. One of the PTO members decorated the bulletin board in the lobby with the names of all the Lincoln students with summer birthdays, and the students can see this displayed as they enter the building each day. So far, the PTO at Lincoln has been busy with Stock the Teacher's Lounge project.
Ready to connect.
Field
Click connect to
fundraiser.
show now. You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-in Studio web interface.
Who gave you the keys?
I apologize.
It's okay. Where was I? Organizing the director of Lincoln Kids and Families Spirit Night at Jersey Mike's. They held their first PTO meeting September 6th and were present at open house on September 14th. Some upcoming activities are school store, fall festival, Sarah's Candy fundraiser, the book fair, and the first round of classroom parties. They have many helpful people involved in the PTO at Lincoln and are excited for a great year. Ben Franklin has had such a fun start to the school year. They're pulling great numbers to their PTO membership drive. Open house was a success with the students, and they had great success with their ice cream and spiritware sales. Their back-to-school bingo is 9/22 and is booked solid. They're excited for the school year, as it seems people are extra excited and ready to partake in events and volunteer opportunities. George Washington started this year with a welcome back staff breakfast and their annual popsicles on the playground. A PTO membership contest was held, and the winning classroom received a prize. Fundraising is wrapping up their Spirit Gear sale that was held from August through September, annual mum sale, and Bethel Park blanket sale. They held a successful bake sale during open house from donated baked goods from parents. George Washington had a Spirit Night at Chick-fil-A last week as well. Fall events are being planned. Memorial Elementary is having a great time getting back to school and kicking off the year with an ice cream social and a bake sale at open house. October is coming up fast, and volunteer parents will be getting underway soon with preparing Halloween classroom party activities and games for the Halloween school events. They are also busy preparing for the start of their monthly fourth grade activities that the oldest students will get to participate in, as they prepare to send them off to NAMS next year. Lastly, the PTA is helping to promote our Memorial Staff Point Drive for the very Melody Save book and her family. Next is William Penn. August and September were busy months for the school and the PTO. This is their second year doing a welcome kindergarten and new student night, the evening before the first day of school. It's a great opportunity for families to tour the school and for kindergartners to meet their teacher and be in their classroom. They also had a huge open house event where not only did families get to meet their teachers, but they had almost 10 different tables set up to learn about what activities and opportunities are available to them in the community, such as Home Depot Kids Workshop, Camp Invention, a dance studio, Boy and Girl Scouts, and many more. The last one I have for you is Neil Armstrong Middle School. And so NAMS has had a great start to their monthly student store and popcorn Fridays. Their students were able to purchase items during lunch and were very excited for the fun items available and delicious popcorn. Their first big event of this year will kick off Friday, September 29th. It is a fun night for students and families to participate in the 80s and 90s themed bingo filled with games, food, and prizes. And that's it.
Thanks, Caitlin.
You're welcome.
Is there a solicitor report?
Yes, Mr. President, just briefly, our office continues to provide legal support as requested. We've had a particular focus in the last month on some of the components, the legal components of the new elementary school project. That's included reviewing an early AIA construction document, some bonding, and most recently, we've received and we've been reviewing the draft developers agreement and O&M's stormwater agreement. Those last two are with the municipality, and so we do look forward to some continuing cooperation from the municipality with respect to bonding on those, and we'll be able to report back at the facilities meeting.
Actually, the stormwater is on tonight's agenda.
And
The
stormwater is
development agreement is coming.
And so that is the one that has some bonding components, so we hope to have some good results there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any committee reports?
We had our first subcommittee meeting for the school start time subcommittee last night. Started off by really focusing kind of from a very high level on what we wanted to accomplish and what we thought the pros and negatives of potential start time changes are. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways that we could go about this. Upper St. Clair, for those of you that don't know, recently changed theirs, and what they did was they slightly pushed everything back. Then they did a slight like condensation of the overall bus schedule. That's one option. We could go for anything from that to something as, I guess you could say, extreme as entirely flipping our schedule and putting high school at the end and elementary school at the beginning. We really just started by identifying identifying all of those possibilities. Then we looked for just the various different possibilities. What are the pros? What are the cons of each of them? Kind of very high level. The main pros that we saw in general were obviously more sleep. And what does that correlate to? In the studies that we looked at was improved mental health, better academic performance, reduced substance abuse, and better attendance at school. Some of the main cons that we're concerned about and that we'll kind of be keeping track of as we go through this is just overall issues with disruptions to kind of currently held schedules. So for different parents and caregivers, a change may not correspond well to their work schedule. They may have difficulty finding daycare, things like that. Changes and conflicts that deal with sports. Our bus runs is obviously a really big thing because right now, as we've talked about previously, we're already struggling a bit to make sure that we can satisfy all those runs in a timely manner. So anything that would make that worse and would exacerbate those issues probably isn't something that we could look down. In addition, really high-level questions we looked at are what year would this take place? What schedule of those should we pursue? And then how will this also impact the community partners? So in addition to the daycares, how does this impact Votex? How does this correlate with other schools that are not on the same schedule as us? Things like that. So we will be continuing to kind of delve into all of those complexities over the coming months. And we'll also be creating a survey to send out to students, our teachers and staff, as well as parents and caregivers in the general community. Does anyone have any questions about that?
So you brought up a lot of points. Do you have the right people on the committee to help determine some of those answers, like the operations around busing and the...
Yes, Dr. Korzinski
Okay.
is on that committee.
Okay.
Ms. Grimm, our athletic director, is on the committee. Mr. Villani is on the committee. And then we also have a number of really talented community members who have backgrounds in things like psychiatry. We have an adolescent physician. We have a PhD in biology that has done some research into sleep time and things like that. So we really have kind of a spattering of different backgrounds and opinions that we can kind of use to tackle each of those individual problems.
Okay. Any other questions or any other committee reports? Okay, superintendent's report.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'll start tonight by sharing with our community that Mr. Christensen's being recognized tonight by the PSBA into their honor roll of public service for his long-standing service to the Bethel Park School District and his tenure as a school director. And they recognize his 8 years of service and note that it's that time of volunteer service that improves our schools and improves our community. So congratulations on behalf of the school district and PSBA for
Thanks.
being
That'll look
the
nice on the
honor-
refrigerator.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have two items on the agenda tonight for retirement. I would like to tell you about the two folks who are up for retirement approval. The first is Gerald or Jerry Guintini. He started in 2001 as a substitute custodian, and in March of 2002, he was made a full-time custodian, and in 2018 he started as a full-time special projects custodian at the high school, and he'll retire at the end of October from that position. And Frank Del Percio was a substitute custodian hired in 2013 and moved up to full-time in 2017, and he'll retire at the end of this week, actually, from the high school position. Did I get those names right, Mark? I should have.
Yeah, I think so.
You did.
Good, good. At this point, I also typically share a strategic planning update with the board. This month would be budget and finance, and we were expecting Mr. McCausland to be able to debut the 5-year long-range plan. That was one of the big goals of the strategic plan. Unfortunately, with the passing of his mother, may she rest in peace, he wasn't able to finish that. So we'll have good news, I presume, by the October meeting, and maybe we'll marry both budget and finance and facilities in the same month's report. I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Cromie, who has the communications update and his 5 big things.
Good to see everyone again. This is time for our 5 big things. It's one of my favorite things that we do to highlight some of the wonderful things that are happening here at Bethel Park every month. Of course, there are always far more than 5 wonderful things happening here, and that's one of the great things about working at Bethel Park. So if you weren't chosen, please no hate mail. Our first one happened is actually just this morning. Earlier today, Lisa Thompson, an Independence Middle School paraprofessional, was officially recognized as a recipient of the prestigious 2023 Fred Rogers Institute Helper Award. This esteemed accolade is presented to just 12 people nationally by the Fred Rogers Institute to individuals who embody the spirit of compassion and community service, drawing inspiration from the timeless legacy of Fred Rogers. Thompson was nominated for the award by Dr. David Mensch. Four Bethel Park High School seniors have been recognized for academic excellence by one of the nation's best-known and longest-running scholarship programs. The National Merit Scholarship Corporation has designated Bryce Clancy, Henry Gaston, Lucas Herzl, and Lupe McElveny as 2024 NMS Commended Students. Clancy and Gaston have also been named 2024 NMS semifinalists. As semifinalists, Clancy and Gaston are among 16,000 NMS students eligible to compete for one of 7,250 NMS scholarships worth more than $30 million. Homecoming weekend at Bethel Park was an unforgettable celebration of school spirit, community, and tradition. As the air turned crisp and the school year shifted into high gear, students, alumni, and friends of the district came together for a weekend filled with vibrant festivities. The football team beat neighboring Baldwin 50-13. And the pinnacle of the weekend came with the crowning of Aaliyah Taylor as the homecoming queen and Bryce Clancy as the king. He had a pretty good week. Lydia Lorenzi was named the homecoming princess, and Tommy Smith was named the prince. Senior Clara McGuff and junior Cam Wallace have each earned recognition for the PMEA District 1 Honors Orchestra. They each perform under the tutelage of orchestra teacher Mrs. Stephanie Glover. The BPHS violinists and bassist, respectively, each performed live before a panel of judges and were selected for the highly competitive ensemble among high school students who auditioned from across Southwest Pennsylvania. The performance will be held on Saturday, November 18th at Mount Lebanon High School. Finally, on October 3rd, Bethel Park students and their families looking to begin or jumpstart their college search will have the opportunity to meet with more than 100 representatives from all over the country without ever having to leave their community at the 2023 South Hills College and Career Fair, held at Bethel Park High School. As many as 2,000 area students are expected to converge on the high school campus for the special event. And that's all we have for our 5 big things.
Thank you, Mr. Cromie. And following that up will be our updates from our Curriculum and Instruction Department, Mrs. Wells, Mrs. Figlioli.
Hi, good evening, everyone. A great bright spot for us in the curriculum department was our 3rd annual Dot Day. This was the 3rd year that we've done that in Bethel Park, and we closed the chapter of the Create trilogy. So first year was the Dot, 2nd year was Ish. This year our focus text was Sky Color, and it was also the 20-year anniversary of the book, The Dot, being published. So it was a special day for many reasons. The book Sky Color was about a Marisol, who is a young lady who is tasked with painting a picture and not allowed to use the color blue. And of course, as a child, that would rock your schema a little bit about how things are supposed to be. But it really takes her on a lesson in perseverance and constraint. One of the things that we really want kids to understand is that when you have a limited use of materials, you really do have to think creatively. So the story goes through Marisol exploring all the different colors of the sky. So we provided the classrooms with creativity kits as we've done for the past few years, and they were able to create skyscapes. And some of the kids struggled with skyscapes because a skyscape does not necessarily have landforms. It's mostly supposed to be just the sky with or without clouds. But as you can see, some students felt very strongly about the landscape. And we did not choose that battle on a day dedicated to creativity. So you can see some of the students there using their oil pastels. Quite messy. We also provided a bottle of Dawn for each classroom. We also provided each teacher with a class set of blank coasters and magnets so they could do whatever they wanted with them. Some made magnets to keep in the classroom, others made things to take home, but it was a joy to be able to go and visit all 5 of the elementary schools and see the different way that students and teachers were using the materials. There were definitely dots everywhere. The first stop I made was at Lincoln, and the buses hadn't arrived yet, so I had the joy of seeing just dots absolutely invading the bus stops. So you have homemade T-shirts. The 2 gentlemen who are wearing the jerseys were wearing dots underneath. The young ladies in the right-hand corner, their mother made them their headbands. Mrs. Huth's students playing in a pool of dots, which were Orbeez. Also some festive dot donuts provided by Miss DiGregorio at Lincoln. And it wasn't just the kids who were decked out in dots. You can see Central Office had a great showing of festivities. A lot of the teachers, we had some dot earrings, some dot T-shirts, regular dot attire, but as usual, above and beyond effort by the teachers.
Right, you're calling Brett's shirt a great effort?
That was the only reason.
It certainly was not above and beyond.
It was not, but it was something which we can't say for everyone who's here this evening. But yes, he did put those, so we let him in the picture. Something else we tried to do this year was to make an SEL connection, and a lot of figurative language. I think we're all familiar with green with envy, you're red with anger. If you're sad, you're feeling blue. So we had the teachers discuss with the students how different colors can be used to express different emotions. And then the students had the opportunity to draw a picture of themselves using colors that were expressing how they felt. So that young man was feeling, he said he was feeling zen. And he used the colors green and blue, and you can't really see in his picture, but he had a beautiful drawing of himself meditating. And I will hand it over to Ms. Wells.
This evening, I wanted to take a minute and talk about the work we've been doing on the MTSS processes. My esteemed colleagues here along this desk, we have really been working for quite a few months of trying to put together a clearer, more transparent process for students, staff, and families on our MTSS process. And so we have been pulling together all of the things that we have in place and really making them coherent. So we have had an MTSS summit where we have brought in our elementary MTSS specialists in both reading and math. And we are currently continuing following the works of Katie Novak, who led our UDL discussions last year. And so we are working through her book as a district level team in support of students, where we are bringing that MTSS multi-tiered systems of supports to our students, which is one of our strategic goals, into the elementary school in a formalized way. And we are also utilizing our partnership with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. Mrs. Figlioli was down there today with some of our math specialists, and we are sending our reading specialists for some trainings on the science of reading. So we are making sure that we are providing everyone the supports that they need to work with our children to make sure they're all receiving what they need. And so one of the ways that Katie Novak explains the tiers of support that we offer our students is by using a layer cake. And one who really does like cake, if you want a layer cake, you want all the layers of the cake, that all students get that first layer of the cake, the tier 1, that is for everybody. And then we layer on top of that things that other students might need on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, it may change those top layers, but everyone gets that bottom layer. And so for someone like me, that's a great way to think about it, that we all get that tier 1 instruction. So we will be working with the classroom teachers, forward slide, as we start looking at our data. We are currently in our MAP data testing window that opened on Monday and will run till October 6th. You should have received information from your building about your building's particular testing days during this window. Grades 1 through 8 will take MAP growth. Grades 3 through 8 will take MAP growth for ELA. And then we are starting MAP Fluency this year for our students in grades K through 2. And so this is a program where they will read into the computer using headsets with boom microphones, so we can hear all of our students reading their fluency, their accuracy, and have recordings of this that we then can use with our specialists in order to work with students, do some data analysis on what we're seeing across multiple students, individual students. And so we are really looking forward to utilizing our time during the 2-hour delay on November 1st to work with our staff with this data. So I thank you for your time this evening.
Mrs. Wells, I'm a kinesthetic learner, so maybe next time bring the cake so we can really appreciate those layers. But thank you, everybody, Mr. Crummy, Mrs. Figlioli, Mrs. Wells. That's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any public comments on agenda items? 2 minutes on anything related to, any topic related to the agenda? Anybody online? No? Okay. Let's move into the business items. Ms. Hoppy, can you take the consent agenda?
I'd be happy to, Mr. Christensen. So today we have, I believe, 28 items on the consent agenda. Before I move to approve, are there anyone would like held out?
Yes, please. Could you please hold one professional development out?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
So we'll vote on number 1.
Could you
So
move?
I move to approve number 1 on the consent agenda, which is professional development.
Second.
So motion was made by Ms. Hoppy, seconded by Mrs. Turner.
Voting's open.
While we're waiting for that, I must abstain from that vote because I am the subject of the professional development, and that's why we held it out.
Motion passes.
Okay, and for the remainder, number 2 through 28, I move to approve.
Second.
Motion is made by Ms. Hoppy, seconded by Mr. Scalzo.
Voting's open. Motion passed.
Thank you. Mr. Scalzo, we have one item under Curriculum Committee.
Okay, one item. The Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to approve the Memorandum of Understanding with Carlow University for college and the high school courses. I move item 1, dual enrollment agreement.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Scalzo, seconded by Ms. Janasek.
Voting open. Motion passed.
Thank you. Ms. Janasek, can you take the 3 items under Personnel Committee, since Mr. McGregor's not here tonight?
Sure. Under Personnel Committee, we have 1, change of assignment.
We can take all 3 together.
Want to do all 3
People
together?
want them held out.
2, appointment of personnel. And 3, approval of extra duty responsibility program.
Second?
Does anyone have any questions or want anything held out?
I just want to let everybody know, if you're not looking at it, under the appointments, there is some things that we really need in the district right now. A paraprofessional at Neil Armstrong Middle School and a noontime aide at William Penn. So if anybody is out there that wants to do a noontime lunch aide, please contact us, Mr. Puccineri. That seems to be a huge need right now at the elementary level. So very glad to see that we're moving forward to try and fill all those.
Yeah, he's not here, but I know Mr. Pictionary has been working really hard on making sure that we secure those positions, as has Dr. Korzinski. So I saw, you two working hard at the career fair, so we very much appreciate that.
Okay.
Voting open. Motion passed.
Mr. Modrak, can you take the one item under facilities?
Yes, sir. Tonight we have one item, and I'll read it so everyone understands here. Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to approve the Stormwater Management Plan, Operation, and Maintenance Agreement for the new K-5 elementary school project. If there's any questions,
Second?
Did you move it? Okay.
move it and second, yeah.
Motion was made by Mr. Modrak, seconded by Mr. Scalzo.
I just wanted to clarify for people who don't know what that entails and what that's about.
Sure. So one of the conditions of the land development approval would have involved the stormwater. The municipality, like all municipalities, have obligations to ensure that stormwater is efficiently managed and moved to prevent flooding. As an owner of stormwater facilities, so those can be detention ponds or other types of basins, we have continuing obligations. We have one to construct it as required, but also to ensure that someone inspects those on a biannual basis and after heavy rains to make sure that they're still operating in the way that they were designed. And so this memorializes our understanding and our obligations to take those actions going forward.
Voting's open. Motion passed.
Thank you. Mr. Grisbeck, one item under Finance Committee.
We have one item tonight under the Finance Committee agenda, approval of student services contract with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Speech Language Services. I move to approve said item.
Motion was made by Mr. Grisbeck, seconded by Ms. Turner.
I have one question. Could we announce what schools this teacher or staff member could be at so that students walking in don't see an unfamiliar face? I mean, they've been in a month now, so they're getting very familiar with who's there, and then you're asking, and it looks like one of them's only going to be there one day a week. So is that a problem to let them know where they're going, let the audience know where they're going, so parents who may even watch later would understand that there is a new face at school?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, upon approval of this, I haven't even let the building principals know yet. So, yes, the idea would be that this individual would be supporting our speech language therapist in an overflow capacity, supporting students at both Memorial and Benjamin Franklin, where right now their speech numbers are the highest. With the influx of incoming kindergartners, I suspect their speech therapist wouldn't change. Perhaps they would take those newly identified individuals. So it wouldn't be a change of supports or services. But that is our recommendation, to have 2 days a week at Ben Franklin and 1 day a week at Memorial.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Shu. I was just more concerned with these, if they've even been evaluated, seeing a different face. So
yep, absolutely.
They're pretty, young and.
Yeah, and that individual will not be starting until, I believe it's November 9th. So there's some time to update people and let people know.
Okay, thank you.
Voting's open. Motion passed.
Thank you. Ms. Turner, can you take the one item under other?
Sure thing, Mr. Christensen. The Board of School Directors approves the superintendent's goals for the 2023-2024 school year and directs the administration to post them on the website as required by Pennsylvania School Code 20. I move that
Second.
forward.
Motion was made by Ms. Turner, seconded by Mrs. Scalzo.
Voting's open. Motion passed.
Thank you. That's the end of our business section of the agenda. Any public comments on anything related to school matters? You have 2 minutes.
Christy Niven, 1131 McKnight Drive. Should I do that again? Christy Yemen, 1131 McKnight Drive. I am standing here as a concerned parent and American. I am not politically associated with any group. I have read a lot of chatter the past 10 days from parents on both sides of a situation occurring at one of our schools that our children received a copy of the Constitution from the PTO in one of our schools. The literature that was provided was by a nonpartisan nonprofit that solely educates our citizens about the Constitution. This was written on the 1917 Society's website in their mission statement. It has also been it was also provided on and around September 17th, which is Constitutional Citizenship Day in America. And I want you guys to remember the facts of this situation, as it will be important in the latter half of my statement. On the Bethel Park website, it states under Federal Programs tab that the Bethel Park School District utilizes Title I funds, and I would like to inform the board of a federal law that some of your board members must not be aware of by evidence of their behavior online. The bill was signed on December 8th, 2004. It is called the Consolidated Appropriations Bill, and it became Public Law 10844-447. The section of this law that applies to Bethel Park School District and funding is Section 111, subsection B. It reads, each educational institution that receives federal funds for a fiscal year shall hold an educational program on the United States Constitution on September 17th of such year for the students served by that educational institution. My question for the board and administration is, if we have such a program and if one is not established, how are we going to make sure that we are in compliance with the federal law and we do not lose the needed funding for not having this program? Secondly, also, if you think it's a funny suggestion that the school sends home Planned Parenthood literature to middle school schoolers in this district out of retaliation for them receiving a copy of the Constitution, then you do not need to be on this board. Our children are not pawns in your political game. God bless America.
Any other comments? Any online?
Nothing online.
Okay, very good. Any board comments?
I would love to congratulate my dear friend Lisa Thompson on receiving that Fred Rogers
yeah.
Award. I have,
Yeah.
yes. I have known her for almost 30 years, and she is absolutely deserving of this award. Inside and out, she just has a heart for people and a love for the community, and just want to congratulate her publicly because I just love her to pieces.
Nice.
I think I want to thank everyone who participated in homecoming over this past weekend. It was an amazing event, and it was so great to see all schools participating. It was not just the high school. There were a lot of football players that played Tiny Mite football, or a lot of cheerleaders, and just a lot of different organizations participating, and it was fantastic to see. And congratulations to the King and Queen on their next steps. And as Mr. Cromie said, one of them had a pretty good week. So thank you.
I'm proud to live across the street from that royalty. Anything else?
I want to congratulate Lisa Thompson as well. I've been following all of her adventures in school from family members, so she does a great and fabulous job. And look out Bethel Park because Saturday is Hoagie Delivery Day. So get ready. The Hoagies are coming. And congratulations to everybody and all the students and all of our staff who were all honored and worked so hard. And we'll see you next month.
Anything else? No? Motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? Thank you.